Hi guys, it's Sherry. I hope that you are having a wonderful day. Y'all, let's turn those scraps into money. Stay tuned. So if you have been crafting along with me at all this week on any of the fun projects made using Graphic 45's Farmhouse collection, you have some scraps. And I have a bunch of scraps because I usually make 2 of whatever it is I'm showing you guys on camera. So we can't let these scraps go to waste, and I don't, especially when the paper is this beautiful. I am going to show you guys something absolutely awesome that we can do with our scraps. And for those of you who are doing craft fairs, this is going to be a great way to turn the scraps into money. And for those of you who aren't doing craft fairs, this is a great gift. And so here is what we're going to be making. I have a piece of acetate on the top, and I'm simply going to remove it so that I can show you what this is. But I use scraps to make these absolutely awesome little coasters. Just a perfect 4 coaster set that you can sell at your craft fair. You can make these to give as a gift, or you can make them for your own home. Very easy to make. These are 4x4 pieces of scrap chipboard, and then I just picked various pieces of scrap paper to make a set that somewhat coordinated. And then I just created a little tiny box using some of my scrap paper. So I am going to show you guys exactly how we do this. And for those of you who are selling this, and you might even be gifting it, I did create this wonderful little acetate sleeve so that we could cover these and then put them out. That way when you have them sitting out, they aren't likely to be picked up or mishandled. It's just a great way of protecting whatever it is you're setting out on your table. And here is what we're going to need to make our project. We're going to start with the box. So to make the box, we need a piece of chipboard that measures 3/4 by 4 1/4. And then we have 2 pieces of chipboard that measure 4 1/4 by 3. Then we have 4 chipboard pieces that we'll be using for the coasters, and mine measure 4 by 4. Then I have 2 pieces of scrap that measure 2 by 6. We might trim those down. And then I have some scrap pieces of varying sizes, and all I'm looking for are pieces that are actually going to allow me to cover this and do a wraparound on it. So as long as my size is big enough for me to cover it, that's all we need. So even if you only have a 5 by 5 piece, as long as you can get it wrapped around, that's all you need. So I'm not going to give sizes of these scrap pieces. Just make sure that your minimum scrap size, if you're using a 4 by 4, is 5 by 5. And then I have 2 5 by 5 pieces that I am going to join together for the outside liner. And then I have my inside liner piece that measures 3 7/8 by 6 3/4. So the first thing that we're going to do, I'm going to push everything to the side, and I am going to take these 2 pieces and join them together. And the reason why I'm doing this is because I want to make sure that on the front and the back I have everything going in the right direction, because I am using a directional print. So when I take this off, I'm going to take this piece and I'm going to lay it down so that they're going in opposite directions. So I'll just lay this piece on top of this one. So I'm going to bring in my 2 pieces that measure 4 1/4 by 3, and my 1 piece that measures 3/4 by 4 1/4. And the first thing that I'm going to do is place down my spine piece, because I am going to hide that seam. So what I'm doing is I am going to take the spine piece and I'm going to make sure that when I lay it down, the seam is running through the middle of this chipboard, and that way it will be on the bottom of my box. So I'll put that down. And then I'm going to take my 4 1/4 by 3-inch piece and place it down, giving myself about 1/8 of an inch in spacing. And then I'll do the same thing over here. And then I'm going to trim off just a little bit of this excess because that is too much. So I'm going to use my stylus just to go around the chipboard and just make sure that I have a nice little crease so that when I do my fold over, everything is nice and indented, especially where I have the joiner crease piece. So now I'm going to take this and just stand it up and fold over on all 4 sides, and then I'll use my finger blade just to miter. And now I'm going to use my glue just to place glue on my flaps. I'll stand it up just like that, and now I can get this stuck down. And I'll repeat this process on all sides of this project. Stuck down, I'll just use my bone folder to go along the edge. Okay, so I did place tape down on the exposed chipboard portion of this after I folded over the sides. And now I'm going to take my liner piece that measures 3 7/8 by 6 3/4, and I am just going to run a bead of glue along the outer edge of this on all 4 sides. And now I'll take this and I'm just going to put it down just like this. And yes, I know that my words are not going to be going in the correct direction, but that's okay because I am using up scrap. Then I'll take my bone folder and just get everything stuck down, go in where my joints are, and just get in there really well to make sure that everything is nice and stuck down. Then I'll take a look at it to see if I have any bubbling, and I do right there. So I am just going to take this and I'll force glue in the direction of that bubbling, and then that tends to take care of my issue. So bubbles no more. Okay, so now I want to make my strap that I am going to use as a wraparound, and I think I'm going to use this side. So I am going to make this a wraparound, and I'll have one over here and one over here. So what I've done is I have my 2 by 6 inch piece, and all I'm doing is folding it into thirds. And now that I have one done, I'll simply use it as the guide for the second one. And then I'll use my glue to get this stuck down. So I'll place glue on both of the outer flaps, and I'll just fold them down. Use my bone folder to get that glue stuck down. And then I'm going to bring this in just to see where I want my placement to be. So the first thing that I'm going to do right away is I'm just going to go ahead and place down one portion of this. So I'm going to take this piece and place it down. I'm going to make sure that I have it nice and straight. So then I'll take my second piece, and when I'm doing the second piece, I'm wrapping it around, making sure that I have it nice and square and even. Now I don't want all of that going around the back, so I am going to use my scissors at this point and just trim down. You can take yours all the way across if you want. So now I'll take my glue place my glue on this piece, and then I will get this stuck and make sure that it's nice and square, just like that. And y'all stick with me because I am going to show you how to do that acetate wrap after we make the coasters, and that's going to be something that you definitely want to do if you want to give it that professional finished look. So now I'm going to take this piece and do the same thing. So I am going to place my glue on this piece. Then I'm going to put it down, try to match the position of the other one. And that looks pretty good to me. Yep. So now I'll take this and just kind of fold it, and then I'll bring it around just like this. And again, I want to make sure that I have got this nice and straight. So I'm going to trim off just a little bit of that back, and I'll take my glue, put my glue on this side, and I'm going to get that stuck down. But before I completely stick it down, I'm going to make sure that this stands, and it does. So now that I know I've got it nice and squared because it's standing without wobbling, that's how I know I've got a good positioning on it. So now that we have this made, I am going to set it to the side so that these straps can really dry, and then we'll come back and we'll decorate it. But in the meantime, we're going to make some coasters. Okay, so to make our coasters, I am going to be using some clear contact paper, and I am going to make 2 coasters with you guys and 2 coasters off air, because once I do the process, you really don't need to see me do it again. So what I'm going to do is I am going to remove the backing from my contact paper, place the contact paper down just like this, and then I'll take one piece of my decorative paper and just smooth it down into the contact paper. And I'm going to go ahead and do the other one at the same time. And this really is a great way to use up scraps. So let's see. So on this front, I think I'm going to go with the milk cans as my front. So then I'll flip it over, and I am going to use my bone folder just to make sure that I get everything nice and stuck. And now I'll just use my finger blade or scissors, whichever one you want, and trim off that excess contact paper, and you can toss it. Alright, so once we have our paper covered in the contact paper and you can see the gloss on it, I am going to take my 4x4 chipboard piece, place it down, and I'll go ahead and do both. And I'm not too concerned that my paper isn't cut even, because I'll just be able to do a wraparound anyway. And then I'm just going to take it and fold it over just like this. And now I'll use my scissors just to do a miter. And then I'll use my glue to put this down. So I'll fold this over and get it stuck down. And then guys, I forgot to list these in the supply list, but we're going to need some pieces for the back, and they are 3 3/4 by 3 3/4, and you need 4 of those pieces. So I am using glue to put these down. I am just going to run some glue in the middle, making sure I get those ends, and then we'll get this stuck down. And again, the sizes that you're going to need are 3 3/4 by 3 3/4. And you just put it on the back, just like that. Then I'll take my paper towel and get that stuck down with my bone folder. Same thing with this one. So I am going to place my glue on this side, making sure that I get glue in my corners and on my ends. And now I'll take this and I'll place it down just like that. Use my paper towel to spread out the glue. Then I'll use my bone folder to really work that glue in. And now we've got 2 really sweet little coasters. Not done yet because we need to put bottoms on the coasters. So what I have here are some plain white bingo chips, and I'm putting these down so that we're not sitting the coaster flat on the table, because we don't have any protective cover on the bottom, but these will elevate it so that it's not sitting on any condensation or anything. Now, to protect your table from scratching, you might want to take just a little piece of felt or something soft and just place it on the bottom, and that will make sure that when this is placed down, if it happens to slide across the table, it is not damaging our beautiful furniture. So I am just rubbing that in that glue, then I'll let it dry. And now you can see we have these sweet little bases on our coasters, and y'all can't see it, but they are elevated so they don't sit flat on my desk. So I am going to make the other 2, and then I'll be right back. Alright guys, so I have the remaining 2 completed, and isn't this just an adorable set? We've got that farmhouse scene, and then we've got fresh milk. I love how this turned out. And then of course we have the cute little bingo chip feet on the back. So when I take these to put them in my box, I am going to take 2 and just put them in the box where they're facing each other like this, so that when they are in the box, from the front and the back, we have that gorgeous, gorgeous scene. So now what I'm going to do is I am going to add just a very simple decoration to the front and to the back. So I have placed some hot glue on the back of this. I am going to put it down. We're going to get that stuck down just like that. Looks like I got a little bit of glue right there, but it came up. So now you can see that we've got this cute little front. And then when I flip it over, I am going to use this sticker. So it doesn't matter which side we're looking at, we have got a really beautiful front and back to this. So now we need to make the acetate closure that will go over this, or the acetate wrap. So I am going to take these out. I have a piece of acetate that measures 4 1/4 by 8 1/4, and this is going to be very easy what I'm doing. So it literally is a wrap. So I am taking this, placing it down in front so that the bottom is there. Then I am going to just take it and give myself a little crease right here at the front. And then once I have that crease, I'm simply going to fold this. I'm not even going to put it in my scoreboard. I'm just going to fold it, use my bone folder, and then when I have it creased, I'm just going to break up that crease a little bit so that it's not so sharp. Then I'll take this put it back in so that my crease is now on the front, just like this, and then I'll turn it to the back, and I am going to repeat that process. So basically I'm putting it down and I am just creating a nice little crease so that I can wrap it. And that just saves you the trouble of having to put this into the scoreboard and trying to get your placement nice and snug, because we really do want a nice snug wrap on this. So when I take this and I put it over the top just like that, now we have a beautiful wrap that we can take and put down into our box. And so now you can see just how everything fits nice and neatly in there. And then once I'm ready to position these down in my box for sale, I would simply take some low tack adhesive and wrap it around just like this, making sure that we've got it nice and snug. And this is going to keep everything in place so that when you drop it down inside, it sits in just like this. Hands touching it won't really make it dirty or anything, but if you need it to show what's in the container, you can very easily undo that tape and replace it. So I am going to bring both in so we can see all of this coaster goodness. These really are delightful, guys, and we are using scraps to create all of this awesomeness. It really is a fun way to use up those scrap pieces that we always seem to have hanging around. But not only are we able to turn them into something that is useful, we're able to turn them into money. And that is very important if you're going to be doing any type of craft fair. So guys, I hope that you have liked this project. And if you have, please hit the like button. If you're not a subscriber to my channel, I would love to have you join my online crafting family. You guys have a great day, happy crafting, and we'll chat later. Bye.